How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting and welcome back to Miniature Garden. I know this is a bit of a detour, but hey, I had to play Doki Doki while it was out. It was like I was dying not being able to know what that game was with so many people talking about it. It just seemed a good time, so I had to have that break anyway with the move, so it's been a while. And last time we were here in the move, so if you are watching this in order, things have changed. It's been about, oh gosh, at this point now, it's probably been about 2 months since I last played this game, maybe 3. But we're going to finish it, because I don't like leaving things unfinished, especially if it's been enjoyable. It has been. I mean, by no means is it one of the great visual novels I've ever played, but it's still good. And that's the thing, is like, I mean, visual novels, or like movies, like, you can't just watch the best ones, especially if you want to even know what the best ones are. But that's the thing, is that this is also one of those ones made by a group that's probably smaller, doesn't have the time or the ability to do the great things yet, but if we can support the ones that they do well in, eventually they'll be able to find what they need to be able to make the great epic ones that we, like, live for. At least I do. Anyway, brief recap. It's been a while, but if I remember correctly, our best friend who had a weird name that I could hardly pronounce, I got first I wasn't too suspicious of him, but then immediately when stuff started going sideways and he seemed kind of chill about it, I was just like, okay, he's not the most suspicious, but he's also not the least suspicious, making him the most medium suspicious, which means he's the bad guy. And I totally called it. He's a freaking psychopath. Like, his whole point of being here is apparently to kill us all. At least, to be the last survivor. I think because the last survivor is the one who gets out. At least in his interpretation. We think there's another way out. Silverhaired girl, who was like a transfer student, she has some kind of secret prior knowledge of everything. And she's supposed to be helping us, but she's also not very good at talking, and so, like, we don't really know what's going on. We're just kind of going with her. We have our childhood friend who we think might have murdered her parents, which is great. She's trying to hold it together, not doing super great a job. She's really nice, though, which is fine. And just like Doki Doki Literature Club, I seem to fall for the crazies, because I thought she was the coolest one. And then we had Sumika, who was kind of the lighthearted, kind of ditzy girl, who turned out to actually have been a dead person from the beginning. She'd been killed in the first round of the Miniature Garden Haunting Trap. Once again, this story is very reminiscent of, Corpse Party, that's what it is. So, very similar to that. However, it was interesting to have her, but she died in the first one, and she died again. She was murdered. So, we're now trying to survive. For some reason, even though, like, the murderer kind of had us in his power, he didn't quite kill us. Apparently, though, he did capture our best friend. Like, my childhood friend. So he's got something twisted going on in his head, so we're trying to rescue her, if I remember correctly. So anyway, we go to the principal's office, hoping to find some secrets to unravel. We return to the old principal's room in a slightly lighter mood.
Ayana.
Oh, Rio, that was the silver-haired girl. Ayana is the girl... Oh, she's the childhood friend of mine. So maybe we're here to find her. Komiya noticed the sleeping Ayana. Yeah, she was really confused and screaming, but it seemed like she fell asleep while I was busy with Itsuki. He's the son of a gun who tried to kill us. I'm not sure how I feel about leaving her alone like this, but what was I supposed to do? I didn't know if Ayana would be sane once she woke up. I suppose it wasn't impossible for me to carry them both, but with Komiya in this state, I would rather not carry her in an uncomfortable position. That's the other thing, too. Another oddity that the characters have pointed out is that our character has been pretty cool through this whole thing. Like, as far as I know, we're not the bad guy. I don't think we are. But we also seem very in control. Like, we've been through something like this before or something. It's really odd.
Yasunari, 下ろして。ここで綾菜と待ってるから。Yasunari は保健室に道具を取りに行ってきて。
I can get behind that. But what happens if the psycho killer comes in here? But...
仮に綾菜が目を覚まして混乱してても、私ならきっと大丈夫。
I hope so. Right. I guess she did handle her pretty well back in the science room. This place didn't seem that clean, so I'd rather treat her in the infirmary, but... Okay. I'll be back as fast as I can. Of course, you should always realize that emergency aid is best applied ASAP, regardless of the location. Move to somewhere clean if you can, but this is not a situation I'd be worried about that. I set Komiya down next to Yamane and leave the room. The dark and lonely corridor felt oddly chilly to the skin. Oh boy, here we go. Let's see if we can find the face of a murderer. Miniature garden. I borrowed the antiseptic solution and the first aid kit from the infirmary, which we're lucky we found, and rushed back. The corridor was deathly silent, not a hint of life anywhere around. I guess Itsuki was on a different floor. You better hope so. Despite all the madness about competition and the possibility of dying or whatnot, I was feeling strangely calm. Was it because I simply didn't believe in the existence of such a ridiculous mechanism? Or was there something seriously wrong with me? Or perhaps I still didn't believe that Itsuki would hurt us. Still, with the sound of my footsteps at the sole auditory backdrop, I couldn't help but fall into thought. This school was established for all the sake of making some shady experiments. And we were their guinea pigs. Yeah, that's right, that's what we found in the records down the locked basement. Though, here's the thing, we're obviously in some kind of like parallel dimensional world, and maybe stuff here isn't quite right, you know, it could be twisted. I don't know, like, because as soon as you start talking about, like, phased realities, like, you really don't know what's being, like, what's real and what's not. I felt like something didn't add up there. Komiya said that they might be observing us. Let's say that was the case. We'd have countless conversations that might have sounded very dangerous to whomever is responsible for this thing. It was even possible that Komiya and myself would try to outright oppose and fight them. Actually, Komiya is pretty much doing that already. Why were they letting us do what we wanted, do whatever we wanted like this? Was Itsuki on their side? Had they left everything to him? The other thing is, why is Itsuki not killing us? Like, if that's the purpose, why hasn't he done it? He easily could have. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It felt like Itsuki had his own goals, separate from the school. It was as though no one even cared what we did. Did they think that was all part of the experiment? The more I thought about it, the less I could understand what the school was trying to achieve here. I'm kind of glad about this, because I was noticing a lot of these kind of plot holes, but this is making me think that they actually were intentional, which would be kind of cool. Besides, the business card we found. Igusa Akinori, my father. I would have never thought to hear that name here. Yeah, that's right. He had some history with the whoever founded this whole organization. I wonder if those important documents that Komiya was searching for were actually you yourself, Yasunari. You might become our hope. Interesting. Oh yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like they were looking for something. Maybe they're looking for someone who's immune to this whatever this brain temperament is. I remember what Itsuki and Komiya said. The reason I was here, I didn't have enough information to know how to interpret their words. But I reached the doors of the old principal's room before I realized it.
Okaeri.
I found Komiya sitting next to Ayana, and as I entered the room. Ayamane, why did I come with that? Ayana seemed to be still be asleep. So what's the plan? You want to do it yourself? After all, she was hurt in potentially suggestive place. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't want her to call me a pervert again. Her wound was in a location that was hard to reach, so I figured it would save us a lot of potential trouble if she just did it herself.
そうだね.
Yeah, probably best. Komiya, after a moment of thought, took the first aid kit from me. She took the cloth that was bandaging her leg. It was almost black from all the blood. Ooh. But I realized it used to be a piece of white shirt. Okay, so it's probably not great at absorbing. I wonder if Itsuki tore his own uniform to bandage her. Oh, that's right, he tortured her. What the fetch? He makes no sense to me. He was torturing her for information, then didn't kill her. I don't get it. The wound looked pretty terrifying from over here, but Komiya did not seem to mind, patching it up with an experienced hand. You seem used to this. Well, so do you, fella. For a moment, I found myself completely lost in the sight.
お母さんから教えてもらってるから.
Well, I guess it's handy skills to know. She replied to me with a little emotion, and when I was about to look at the side, I realized I was staring. I noticed a number of what looked like small burn marks on the inner side of her right thigh.
あまり見られると恥ずかしい。
That's not what we meant, I promise. Ah, I'm sorry. This time I did look away. So those marks I thought I saw back in the principal's room weren't just my imagination after all. I wonder what you'd have to do to get burned in a place like that. Probably wasn't a good memory in any case. I guess I'd better not bring it up. Kamiya finished changing her bandages and started repacking the first aid kit.
それで、安成の話って。
She threw me a question while her hands were still moving. Ah, well, it's about Itsuki. You did notice he was upset by the existence of the drug and what the school was doing, right?
わかってる。だから、協力してって言ったけど、タイミングが悪かった。
Honestly, with him, I don't think timing was the big issue. Yeah, I told him the same thing, as well as explained what you were doing. Still, he said it didn't matter and refused to listen. Kamiya fell silent.
いつきは、多分、自暴自棄になっているのだと思う。
Self-destructive. She continued after a pause. Yeah, I got the same feeling. It kind of connects to that self-destruction mechanism, too.
いつきは、それを探しに行ったの。
Yeah, he said he'd be the one who finds it first will survive. He seems to want to make everyone involved with this business disappear. Kamiya glances at the bloody cloth that used to be wrapped around her leg. Kind of feels like he's trying to take on an evil role, but can't go all the way. Maybe. Does he just not have it in him? Kamiya gives me a small nod. Besides, it's not even clear such a mechanism exists. Oh, yeah, he said something else, too.
何?
That whenever you are looking for might actually be myself, or something. Uh-oh. Kamiya's gaze fixed on me. Can you show me that paper with my father's name? Kamiya took out 2 folded pieces of paper from her plush toy bag, and handed them over to me. I unfolded them and started reading. Most of the words inside were too technical for me, though, and I don't understand much of what was written. But I did find a date of 16 years ago with a sign A. Igusa at the bottom of the second page. If my father wrote this, then I wonder what it means that we found it locked in a secret room. 16 years ago. That's just 1 year after my birth. I guess it was hardly an exaggeration to say that my father must have been somehow involved with the drug, given that I was here. His name kept coming up way too much lately. Especially once we started to investigate the principal's room.
どうしていつきは、安成が私の探してる資料じゃないかって言ったの?
I just remembered too. So a lot of this drugs, like the stuff that they're experimenting with, also has to do with like being able to erase memories. That's kind of like the problem I think like our best friend Gone Trader had. He doesn't like how some people are able to have their bad memories taken from them. That they don't have to live and handle that. And that it slowly will destroy people. And Ayana, we think, has some hand in her parents' deaths, and that's why she's freaking out, because she's starting to remember. Because that's what this place is supposed to do. It's supposed to undo what the drug did. And so, like, at least a refined version of the drug. And so we think she's starting to remember, and that's what's driving her crazy. And we also have kind of a blink in our past, so we probably have memories that have been suppressed, too. So that could easily be part of it. Let's see, what do you think it's a work for? He said I was too calm for a test subject. Abnormal. That I was showing no side effects whatsoever.
確かに。それは私も思う。あなた、何を見てもほとんど動揺していないんだもの。
Sorry. Maybe our emotions have somehow been, like, removed. Or maybe we turn to a psychopath if we have emotions, so they were taken from us. There's a similar concept in the Dragon Age series with mages that can't control their magic. They turn them into what's called tranquil, where they take away their ability to dream and to touch magic, but they also take away their emotions and their like, will. So they kind of turn into these kind of autonomous, mindless slaves that can think, but they just don't feel. They're like robots at that point. Is what's going on with Ayana the normal reaction to those side effects?
本来なら、副作用の影響が出た時点で、 普段より情緒不安定になったり、動揺しやすくなったりする。
Okay, that makes sense. But what about you? You seem fine.
いつもなら我慢できることもダメになったりするの。それこそ、男の人なら理性が飛んで、性犯罪に至ってしまったり。
Hope we don't have any of that.
はっきりと症状が出た以上、同時期の安成が成功例というのも考えにくい気はするけど。
I hope that doesn't happen in this story. We'll have to. YouTube would not be happy, despite the fact that this is that my channel is no longer monetized. I eventually want it to become so someday, and so I want to make sure I stick to the right stuff. Plus, I'm sure that YouTube would just have a fit if I had something that graphic on here. It doesn't feel like it's going to do that, though. Komiya fell into thought. I either had a good natural tolerance to the thing, or the effects were just late. I couldn't think of anything else that could have caused this.
確かに、安成は重要な参考資料ではあるのかもしれない。その紙に書かれた意味も、安成のことも、きっとお母さんならわかる。ここから出られたら、会ってほしい。
Oh, that's a very cool sentiment. I'm sorry, it's hard. The text doesn't always line up with the words. Normally they do a really good job of adding punctuation in ways that helps you kind of see the chunks of conversation that are going on. This one didn't so much, especially when it has a secondary line that pops up. But that's cool. Yeah, sure. You know what? Tell you what, we survived this. I'll let your mom talk to me. That is a-okay with me. Plus, I'm sure she's very nice. Well, I don't really mind, but we had yet to figure out how to escape this place.
大丈夫。安成は絶対に出られるはずだから。
Oh, well, thank you. What about you?
いつきは他に何か言ってなかった。
I don't like how you just changed the subject. It was as though she was trying to change the subject. Oh, I see. I was a bit confused as to her wording back then, but I decided to tell her everything about Itsuki for now. Ah, that's right. He said something about spending a lot of time watching what the drug does to people, or something along those lines.
長年ずっと身近で。本来なら、それはありえないはずだけど。
Especially... Wait, is he a lot older than he looks? That would be interesting. Because the school is taking care of those cases?
そう。だって、ミナテュール祭は、そのために行っているはずだもの。
Yeah, I don't like this festival. I wonder where Itsuki learned about the drug anyway. Even we, whose parents were at least somehow involved, didn't know anything about it. Okay, he knew it all despite not being a subject. I wonder if he's an adult. What if he just stopped aging for some reason? Even if you told everything by the school. How did he even end up working for them in it then? It was possible he got involved with them already thinking about betraying them all along the way for whatever goal. Was he involved with test subjects before? Or was he the son of some sort of important person in the company responsible for the drug? I felt as though nothing about him added up. Okay. Alright, buckle up. Ayana, it's okay. You need to calm down. I know you feel calm, you're gonna say you're calm, but just breathe. Ayana woke up while we were busy assessing the situation. I glanced at her to see her looking all around the room. Seems like she's suppressing. That's probably the best.
Ayana, 今どういう状況か思い出せる。
Komiya raised her upper body to address Ayana. She presses her fingers against her lip and fell in thought, a light anxiety clouding over her features. At least she seemed a lot calmer than before falling asleep.
そっか。折本くんにこの部屋に連れてこられて、すごく怖かった気がするんだけど。ごめんなさい。それをよく覚えてなくて。
think it's okay.
そう。
Kamiya seemed to be slightly disappointed. I imagine she wanted to know more about Itsuki's behavior. You think the drug is related to her memory lapse?
だと思う。綾菜、足の布、解くよ。
Oh, huh. Yeah, she was worried about that last time.
え？あ、本当だ。お願いします。
Back then, she acted almost as though I was trying to murder her. It was pretty odd to continue as though that never happened. I did bring up sexual assault and rape. Maybe something happened with Itsuki. If that's true, I'm punching myself. Still, these fits would most likely accumulate one by one until Ayana, we knew, might not come back for good.
取れた。歩ける。
Ayana stood up and tried taking a few steps.
大丈夫だよ。ありがとう。ねえ、すみかちゃんは？
Ooh, crap. She got out. Wonder if she forgot. Sumika's fine. Komiya, what should we do from now on? Want to look for that mechanism or whatever?
装置？
Itsuki said there might be a self-destruct mechanism inside the school, though it's just a rumor. We were thinking to look for it.
ああ、それ、多分噴水のことじゃないかな。
Okay, why? The fountain? You mean the one by the inner yard?
うん。綾菜、何か知ってるの？
Yeah. Kamiya seemed very intrigued. And yet it was a bit weird for Ayana to react that way.
あ、っていうかね、噂が噂を呼んだみたいな感じなんだけど、あの噴水って、朝も校長先生が言ってたけど、弔いのために建てられたものじゃない？
I guess it is possible. I mean, we have nothing else to go off of. I mean, might as well. Yeah.
前から、一部の生徒の間では、あの噴水について噂があったんだよ。何か大事な暗号が隠されてるんだとか、死体が埋められてるんだとか。
Is there any rumor that the school doesn't have? It's true. It's like, there's rumors for everything. It's got every rumor you can think of.
多分、その一環でできた噂じゃないかな。噴水に爆破の起動装置が仕掛けられてるとか、そういうの。
It's funny though, because it's like, this is playing off of like, this, like every school does have this kind of stuff. I mean, like my high school didn't really have anything like that, but junior high and elementary school, I remember hearing all kinds of crazy stuff about, oh, the so-and-so place is haunted and all that stuff. Guess it was possible? Ayana had more friends than me, and liked these kinds of stories. I guess we could trust that the rumor itself existed, at least. Now that I think about it, I first saw Komiya by the fountain too.
校長が変わった時に作られたとは聞いてたから、見に行ってたの。
Okay.
何かを隠した可能性自体は、あると思う。
Okay. So I think we have a game plan? But last time we tried getting in there, didn't we have a problem? You think we could actually do something about it if that's the case? If that self-destruct mechanism was buried somewhere deep underground, there'd be no way we could get to it by ourselves. Now that I thought about it, it was a bit ridiculous for us. Just a bunch of students, and trying to expect to uncover things hidden by huge organizations and the like. Huh. Yeah, and here's the other thing though, like, to his credit, to think about, if they have something under, like a self-destruct mechanism would be pointless unless you could activate it. Obviously, you don't want to make it easy to do so, and typically you'd only want to make it so that an authority figure who has the right to decide that could do it, but if there is something there, I mean, it would be silly for them to bury it to the point where, like, if you had to dig up the school to blow up the school, it seems like it's kind of a pointless endeavor at that point. I mean, this miniature festival thing existed not to give us a chance to find things out, but to experiment with and cover our existences.
Yasunori?
Most likely worried by my silence, Ayana tried calling my name. Kamiya, you're here to find the documents related to the antidote, so you can stop the organization. Is that right?
そうだけれど。
You do realize that getting the antidote is nowhere near enough to achieve that, right?
何が言いたいの？
I feel like there's something that didn't add up, both with Itsuki and the whole situation. Why is the school completely unguarded if they're hiding things here? You even said they might be observing us when we were on the roof. Komiya, instead of answering, seems to fall into contemplation. Don't you think it doesn't make any sense? If the school was doing all those things, then wouldn't they have, like, decided to stop us once we started looking for the hidden documents and whatnot?
それは安成の存在が異例で見逃されたんじゃないの?
Mitsuki says something like that too. Like I knew something special but was made to forget it. That I myself was used to keep things concealed. Maybe we were in on it from the beginning and we purposely wiped our own minds so that we could not, like, mess up the experiment. But if I was really like that, and there was something hidden in me, I think it would be something inconvenient for the school.
それはもしかして、さっき言った安成が私が探しに来た資料なんだって話につながるの?
Perhaps. Yeah, but in that case, it doesn't make sense for the school to let me live, much less hang around unmonitored like this. Pieces were finally falling together. If the school was really doing something, it was looking for test subjects that managed to overcome the side effects of the drug, and covertly erasing those that didn't. And from what Komiya and Itsuki said, it was possible that I was precisely this kind of test subject they were supposed to be looking for. As long as that really was what they were looking for, that is. Anyway, in the case, the school would have been an incentive to keep me alive. You sure the side effects of the drug manifest around the same time period for everyone?
そのはず。今日ここにいる私たちは、みんな同じ時期に作成された薬を近い時期に投与されてる。
True, but maybe they triggered it. I don't know. Ayana and Komiya were displaying the symptoms. I wasn't. Yet I did get the initial headache that Itsuki mentioned was a sign that the drug side effects were taking action. Oh boy. Which made the possibility that I wasn't administered the drug to begin with pretty low. And there was that shorter incident with Ayana's disappearance. Why do you think the school would want me to survive?
安成が成功例か。私と同じように貴重な資料だと思ってる。
Those two seem similar, yet are complete opposites, right? Komiya nodded. Ayana didn't seem to follow us that well and kept silent. They would want to secure me as a valuable sample because they would want to perfect their memory control drug. That was the goal of the school, according to Komiya and Itsuki. While if they wanted me as a source of information, it would mean that they were looking for a way to secure that antidote you told us about. And if that was the case, it would mean that I was a living success of whatever agent acted against the drug.
つまり、後者の可能性があるって言いたいの?
Yeah, perhaps originally the school was established to conceal secrets. But now, they're letting us do whatever we want precisely because they are interested in uncovering them instead. The situation would make a lot more sense if that was the case. So the school is... it's more just wanting to see what will happen. Which kind of sounds more like it's not the original people, you know? Like the original people were scattered or killed, and now they're trying to, like, uncover and unravel the secrets.
でもそれなら、事前に私にも、そう説明してくれてもよかったはず。
The others? Who are the others? Your mom? Perhaps your mother didn't know herself. Or maybe she was unable to tell you for some reason.
もし、学園の何かが変わったんだとしたら、校長先生が変わった時なんじゃないのかな。予想だけど。
Yeah, like I said, leaning against the more the organization got switcherooed or taken over. Ayana timidly joins the conversation. Yeah, that would make sense. And if that was the case, then the school was our ally. Everything might have turned around without most people even knowing. When our principles changed and that fountain was built. It was possible they were still observing us because they weren't sure if I would start showing the symptoms later than usual. And they weren't thinking much of Komiya and Ayana because of what she said was right. Only death waited for those who gave in to the drug. Still, I couldn't help feeling that the school could be on their side. Perhaps it was the result of an old elation at sudden appearance of my father's name and installed in me alone. Maybe I just didn't want to think that my parents were evil people.
違っていたら。
The result's going to be the same in any case. If we get stuck, as such, perhaps it wouldn't hurt to try and change our perspective for a while.
そうだね。
Kind of empty, hollow words, but I fully agree. Perspective is the most important thing in a crisis. Ayana gave me a nod too. Now we have to find out how my father is related to this. His name being here meant he was involved with the principal somehow, at least. But we didn't have enough information to tell what their relationship was exactly. Still, given the involvement of the resistance that Kamiya is a part of, and the fact that I seem to be somehow special, I wanted to believe it was nothing nefarious at its core. I wonder if that came from some sort of filial piety? Filial piety? Is that supposed to be Latin, or is that a misspelling word? I don't know.
すべては16年前から仕組まれていた可能性は
Possible.
あると思う。
Kamiya silently addresses me. You mean that my father predicted this from back then? If that was the case, then it would be pretty impressive.
そうね。考えすぎだった。それより、やっぱりもう一度、いつきと話をしたい。
Okay.
今の考えも含めて。
Yeah. I was also curious how he ended up here with us. If my theory about the school's aim was correct, then the meaning of Itsuki being here would change again. Anyway, we should start moving, for starters.
あ、リオちゃん、手伝うよ。
Seeing Kamiya's wound, Ayana jumped to lend her hand. The two stood up and slowly staggered forward. Your leg needs proper treatment. We should try and end this as fast as we can. I glanced at my clock to see it past 11 o'clock in the night. Midnight is supposed to be the cutoff date, right? Our time. The day, our so-called time limit, was almost at its end. If we had more time, I would have liked to look around the room and look for any documents that could confirm my theory, but, well, the result wouldn't change regardless. That's what I told myself. Besides, I mean, everything else is proven too technical for you anyway. I doubt it would be very helpful.
リオちゃんの怪我、折本くんなの？
Yeah.
そうなんだ。
He's not a nice guy.
いつきだって、ただ悪意だけでやったわけじゃないと思う。とにかく話をして、安成たちはお母さんのところへ連れて行く。
Interesting. Yeah. As I exit the room, I glance out the window to see the inner yard. Huh? In front of the fountain. Seems like there was someone there.
あれって、折本くん。
Oh boy. I narrowed my eyes to try and make out the person over there better. Indeed, it seems like it was Itsuki. He was silently staring at the fountain.
何か分かったのかな?
In that case, we should hurry too. How did he manage to get out, though? Kamiya reached out towards the closest window. It slid open, filling the corridor with damp night air. That's different. It was not able to do that before.
開くようになってたんだ。いつの間に?
I don't know.
わからない。ただ、可能性としては。
Ooh, yeah. Now that's starting to feel like a trap, actually, because it's like, we couldn't, but now we can. If there is someone in control of this, it seems oddly convenient. Kamiya shifted her gaze to Ayana. Ayana returned her look with puzzled eyes. Now that I thought about it, the time seemed like it finally started to move shortly before we found Sumika lying at the stairs to the storage room.
本当の怪奇七不思議もあったのかもしれない。それより、中庭に行こ
う。Yeah.
急ぐなら、私たちは後から行くから。安成、先に行ってて。
Are you sure? Kamiya gestures that she couldn't hurry with a leg like that. Alright, I leave her in your hands, Ayana.
早いさ。
Aw, that was cute. With that, I dash into the direction of the inner yard. I think we're getting close to the end. Hello. Itsuki! I got outside through the emergency stairs, no problem.
やっぱり怪しいよね。この噴水。
Yeah, you psychopath. That was how he answered me. That was a bit more digression, but I shifted my eyes to the fountain myself, illuminated brightly in the dark of night. It didn't seem like he came here knowing what he was doing. Ayana said there might be a whole bunch of rumors regarding this thing. I lined up next to him. It really didn't look like a normal fountain. The quiet sound of the running water even gave it a sort of sacred feel.
あやなちゃん、無事目が覚めたんだ。
For now. Yeah, I don't know what you did, but she seems to have forgotten everything about what happened to Samika.
よかったじゃん。薬のおかげで助かったわけだ。
So you had it. That was an obvious attempt at sarcasm. Komiya can't walk properly because you went full Jason Voorhees on her. Ooh, nice reference there. So they are coming here at their own pace.
小宮さんも大丈夫だったんだ。
Well, not really. Yeah, like Ayana, her memories didn't seem messed up. Why do you keep taking those half measures all the time? I remember the piece of shirt bandage on Komiya's leg.
別に。彼女さ、昔虐待でもされてたんじゃない？それでちょっと同情を覚えただけだよ。
Psychopath of the conscience, huh? I see. An image of the burn marks on Komiya's thigh flashed through my mind. At the time, I did consider that a possibility. I wonder if those were caused by him to think that way too. I have a theory about this whole situation, but before that, I want to ask you something.
何よ?
Yasuki sat down on the edge of the fountain. How did you get into our school? Or rather, where did you get all that information you know from? Everything about the miniature festival being cover for shady experiments, and then the existence of the drug or medicine or whatever it was that hidden from public eyes? He wasn't a test subject himself, if the registry was to be believed.
俺の両親がさ。
Interesting. Say, what? The words that followed his long sigh were so unexpected I couldn't help asking him back. His parents were test subjects? But if that was true, it didn't add up to what Komiya said. The failures of the miniature festival were all erased.
なぜミナテュール祭を乗り越えられたかといえば、その時点では成功例だったから。
Ah. At the moment of time? You mean their side effects came in late or something?
ああ。二人はミナテュール祭を境に学園から姿は消したものの、他の生徒のように処分はされなかった。
Interesting. So what happened?
二人の発症は俺が生まれた後からだった。蓄積されてたものが多かった分、ひどかったよ。日に日に喧嘩は増えるし。
Are you sure it was the drug? He continued saying with a sarcastic smile that he understood full well that there still was a way that they still were in a way saved by the medicine. It seemed like he had complicated feelings regarding the whole thing.
ただこの薬のひどいところはさ、忘れるんだよ。忘れて同じことを繰り返す。だから病院に連れて行くのも難しかった。
Why were their symptoms so late?
体質的な相性だったのかもしれないし、その年の薬がそういうものだったのかもしれない。まあそんなこんなしているうちに、二人は俺の存在を忘れていった。
Man, that actually would really suck. Being forgotten by your loved ones. Why?
さあ、ストレスの対象だった可能性もあるし、単純に副作用の影響もあったかもな。おかしいのは、家にいても帰っても、出て行けとは言われないんだ。ただ、不審そうな目で見られる。
Ooh, that is weird. Huh.
中学の頃には俺もそういうのに慣れてて、進路を決める時期に、俺宛てにここの学園の推薦状が届いたんだ。なんでだろうとは思ったけど、寮生活できるって言うし、どうも特例で入学金もろもろも免除って話だったから乗ることにした。妙な噂の多い学園だってもともと興味もあったしね。
Oh, that is kind of telling. And eventually that led you here.
そう。校長は俺の両親のことも知ってたし、それに合わせて薬の話も全部聞いた。俺に与えられた学費免除の条件は 学園生活をきちんと過ごすことと、ミナテュール祭に協力することだった。
Guess it's a little dangerous to like work with a kid whose life was destroyed by a drug that you made, bringing him in, and then involving him in all the experimentation. Kind of seems a little like a bad idea.
他には何も言ってなかったの。
Kamiya and Ayana finally caught up.
特には、学園の裏事情は他言無用くらいかな。
そう。
Kamiya made an unconvinced nod.
で、安成は何が分かったって？
I was thinking that the school might be on our side.
何それ？
They prepared this place for us to uncover its secrets. Itsuki narrowed his eyes.
だったら、俺たちみたいな一生徒なんかにやらせないで、自分らが動いた方がよっぽど効率的じゃないのか？
Fair point, actually. It's possible there's something making them unable to. You never heard anything to support that?
ない。俺はただ、協力しろとしか。
Uh-oh. What? Itsuki suddenly paused.
はあ。そういうことなのかな。
折本くん？
なるほど。これも全部計画の一環だったわけだ。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Itsuki stood up.
あやなちゃん、この噴水の噂っていくつくらい知ってる？
爆破装置と隠された暗号と死体が埋められてるかな。
Huh, okay, wait a minute. Has self-destruct mechanism, has hidden code, and has bodies. So, if they wanted us to die, why not set the trap with having us go to the fountain that kills us? Interesting.
安成、この中に正解があるんだけど、どれだと思う？
Huh? The way you put it sounded like it was related to the school's motive. Well, I personally think if you wanted to blow something up, a bomb would be a good place to put it in the center of the school. But I think that's a little too pertinent and unlikely to end up resulting in some kind of test that would make sense. Buried bodies seems a little excessive. Maybe it could be, but it seems a little bad. I would say a hidden code. A secret code.
じゃあ、その暗号には何が書かれていると思う？
Wasn't there something with a lock on it? Or something, I guess. Oh, it's hidden, so I imagine it must be related to uncovering school secrets or something.
そうだね。でも本当にあるのは暗号なんかよりもっとわかりやすいものだ。
Answering me in somewhat exasperated tone, and Tsuki slowly took a step forward.
小宮さんと綾菜ちゃん、二人には正解を教えてあげるよ。
Are you supposed to know what you're thinking? Huh? Before I knew it, Itsuki had a knife in his hands. Oh, fetch! I could figure out what he was planning from the line. He drew closer to the other two. Wait, Itsuki, where?
すべてにおいて必要だったのはきっかけ
Oh no.
だったんだ。
Kill him. Ayana let out a short scream.
ダメ。
Next, Kamiya moved. He was definitely planning to do something to them. I moved toward him too. The whole moment seemed as though in slow motion. But before I could react, the blade of Itsuki's knife fell on my chest. Oh, uh-oh.
これできっかけができた。二人にはもう少し込み入った話をするよ。
Oh, fetch. I could barely make out his voice and my consciousness drew away. Did I get a bad ending? No word would escape my mouth anymore as I sunk into the darkness. Ending 2 triggered. Oh, Setch! That's a bad ending! Well, I guess I never thought that the answers would actually mean anything. Well, looks like I have more to try next time. That's the end for today. It's interesting because it's like this is one of those visual novels where it's like it wouldn't do it justice to not get to the right ending. But I might have to figure out what the right ending is so I don't spoil too much of the game. We'll find out. But anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. This one again wasn't my smaller titles, but I really like being able to highlight the smaller ones too. I think that they need to do, especially for upcoming producers and visual novel creators. I imagine like any game, making a first title is really, really hard. And with visual novels especially, like, there's really not a whole lot of potential for people to make a ton of money off a visual novel. I mean, it can happen, but, like, lightning striking twice. It's just, mostly it's about sharing a story. And that's one of the reasons why I love it, because I feel like it doesn't come with the big inhibitors that a lot of the gaming world ends up having. And so, I really enjoy it. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. Thank you for spending the time with me. And until the next video, watch with me or whatever ever see me next, I'll see you there.